What about the Vimanas that are mentioned in the Ramayana, which are equivalent to aeroplanes?
Yes. That's an interesting question, because if for understanding the Vimana, you need to look at how the word emerged. The word have underwent a lot of transformations. So if you read my book, based on the Valmiki Ramayana, the geography of Ramayana, my second book, I have looked at what is the meaning of the word Vimana. So it has two meanings. So one is actually as part of the building or construction, in you construct this tall buildings, and there the tall structure, like a multi-story structure, around seven-story structure, that is also called Vimana. So, for example, it mentioned the Vimanas present in Ayodhya, Vimanas present in various other cities. So, when Valmiki used the word Vimana, it only means that it is a tall building, the typically seven-storied building, like part of your palace, or part of the house of a very administrator, like an important person in the city. They are all called Vimanas. So that way the word Vimana is used profoundly inside the Valmiki Ramayana. People don't know about it. And second is, of course, the Vimana term is used as uh, a terminology used for a moving vehicle. And the moving vehicle, for example, there is a very important point where Ravana comes to abduct Sita. So that may surprise the audience. In certain parts of that particular abduction scenario, the Ravana is mentioned as traveling in a chariot driven by horses. So even that horse-driven chariot is also called a Vimana. But then you have so many other verses in which it is mentioned as flying. So there is where you got that. This is what in the popular imagination. So when you say Vimana, it has got multiple meanings. One is a non-flying, a tall building. So even in today, when you for a temple, the tall structure is called Vimana. Still, it is called Vimana. So that is continuing from that ancient Mahabharata Ramayana period. The word Vimana have that meaning, and it can mean a normal vehicle which is traveling on the road, like a fast moving war chariot. But in the poetic imagination, they will say that okay, this vehicle is flying because it's moving very fast. Second is, of course, there is a real imagination, the Valmiki's certain slokas where he says that this is literally flying. So there are 3-4 different layers for the Vimana, where we say that it could mean to a tall structure, it could mean a normal chariot which is driven by horses, or it could mean a flying vehicle. So in these three terms we use the term Vimana. That's very interesting.
Yeah, when I read the Ramayana, and I always wondered how did Ram actually go back to Ayodhya so quickly, especially, and we'll also touch upon Sri Lanka and Lanka in a bit. How did he actually go back so quickly? And then I read this instance where Vibhishan asks Ram to come to Ayodhya after he's won the war. And Ram says, no, I have to go back because Bharat is waiting for me. And Vibhishan said, no, you won't take that long. You can take the Pushpak Vimana, which will take you to Ayodhya within a day.
Yeah, right. So the poetic narrative, because when you look at the Valmiki Ramayana, it is a mix of real facts as well as there is some poetry involved in it. So this Vibhishan's that like communication with this Rama in that particular, it comes towards the end of the Yuddha Kanda. So Yuddha Kanda is the sixth Kanda inside the Valmiki Ramayana, and you have a lot of poetic elements added into that Yuddha Kanda portion. But then it's a real meaning, because when I looked at into the actual geography, because there is a possibility, because there is a river that is actually taking Rama or Lakshmana, that entire party, they can move very fast inside that river. So I have explained there is a possibility of what do you call a vehicle, a navigation system inside the river, like a boat, no, that is being rendered as a poetically rendered as a Vimana, because you can move very fast inside that river to reach half of your journey. So definitely, Vibhishan's statement, we have to consider that there are methods by which Rama can move faster from Lanka to Ayodhya. That is one thing. The second is in the journey. That's very surprising, because these are my some of the findings. When they do say that this entire party traveled in a Vimana flying vehicle, but many of the places they describe it in the subsequent verses. They describe as if this entire party is traveling on the road. That evidence also we get. So we have to combine these two information. Like if it is a really like a kind of a flight, an aircraft related kind of a flight, then there is no reason why the people are described as traveling on foot with the dust coming up, all these things. So I have to look at the entire information. What I understand it is that there is a riverine travel which is rendered poetically as a kind of an aerial travel, and it happens quite often. In the Mahabharata also there is a marine battle in Dwaraka between Salva and Sri Krishna, and there also all the slokas very clearly indicate it is a battle in the sea. But then the sea is poetically rendered as this sky, so that it becomes a little bit more magical. So that kind of situation also I can see many places in the Valmiki Ramayana. But I am not completely saying that these are all poetic imagination, because if you look at both the Mahabharata and Ramayana jointly, there is one instance where there is no other explanation other than that it is an aerial vehicle, where it mentioned Arjuna's lifting. Arjuna is being lifted from a mountain and taken to Indraloka. So that is one instance where they very clearly, without any ambiguity, the poet is mentioning about a travel in the sky, because it mentioned when Arjuna reached the particular elevation in the Vimana, you can see the sky turning black. The sky which is blue is turning black. And this is a real, because I am in a space, I am working in space technology, space exploration, etc. So I know that this is a real, you cannot imagine it. No poet can imagine it. Because unless there is a real experience of somebody going up in the sky more than 10-kilometer height. So typically your sky turns slightly blacker when you reach a height of 10-kilometer. So certainly there is a kind of aerial travel in a real Vimana, in the real sense of how you understand today. And that kind of an experience has been recorded inside the Mahabharata. But similar kind of an experience I can't see in the Ramayana with that kind of clarity. So I will leave this to the readers, like how much of the Vimana narratives inside the Valmiki Ramayana and Mahabharata, how much of it is poetic imagination, how much of it is real. So what I given, I am not giving any conclusion in my books. If anybody reads my books, in each place where the Vimana is mentioned, so to many people's surprise, it is mentioned both in Ramayana and Mahabharata, right? It's not just in Ramayana, but Ramayana Vimana is very popular, but it is always there in the Mahabharata also. So in the both Itihāsas, wherever the Vimana term is used, I have done the analysis and told these are the possible explanations. But as I was saying, after analyzing hundreds of such incidents, both inside the Ramayana and Mahabharata, there is one incident inside the Mahabharata where it cannot be reduced as a poetic imagination, because the real explanation is given with a very high amount of technical details about the machineries inside the Vimana, and the real experience of if a person travels in the sky with a certain, say for example, if you are traveling in normal today's aircrafts, which is traveling at the height of around 8 to 10 kilometer, you will still see the sky as blue. But this is going beyond that height, like maybe some 15 kilometer height, something like a projectile. That has really happened because that narrative is, we can very clearly see inside the Mahabharata. It is in the in this Parva, this Arjuna Baigamana, like that. where Arjuna is mentioned as traveling in a Vimana towards Indraloka. So definitely our Itihāsas are very much enigmatic. Even a researcher like me who have meticulously looked at the data and be in a critical manner, but we can also, I cannot also reduce it 100% as pure imagination. So if that is what the concern of your audience and you, I can say that. And read the book, because where I have given the full analysis of this Vimanas.
So, our books are full of concepts like, or realities like Vimanas and half human, half monkeys, a talking bear, gods like Narsimha, half human, half lion. I think skeptics then, say that it is mythology. It is not Itihāsa. It is not history. What do you have to say to that?